Maria, can you hear me?
Can you hear us, Kalyn? Sorry, I think
Now I can hear you.
Oh, lovely. Sorry, I'm having a little technical
Wonderful.
issue there. But yes, I am joined tonight by Kalyn. So can you tell us a bit about yourself, Kalyn?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Kalyn, joining you from New York City. I myself am a graduate student in the history department at Fordham University with a focus in Scottish history, and I absolutely love being able to immerse myself in it both at school and at work. Did you know that we have a whole section on our website dedicated to Scottish clans? If you're interested in finding out more about the history of your clan, then we certainly recommend taking a look.
Absolutely. And we do have over 500 clan and family associations registered around the world. And so we just love learning wee bits of history and hearing from our customers how they explored their heritage and traced their roots. And we'll hear a bit more about some people who found their Forbes roots later on. So we are by no means experts. We're just keen to share the information. We do love digging into the often bloody and brutal stories, as well as highlighting the lesser known bits of clan history and the work of the societies around the world. So please don't hesitate to chip in if we get anything wrong or we've got more to add. We are a bit funny with some of our pronunciations sometimes, so if you've got any corrections for us, please do let us know.
Right, so during October, we've been celebrating all things Clan Forbes. So join us tonight as we delve into this clan's history and discover some of their most intriguing stories and learn about what the clan has been up to in recent years. We'll be learning about some of their most memorable battles, famous faces, old and new, and so much more. We always welcome your input, so if you're associated with Clan Forbes and in any way, or if you're associated with Clan Forbes in any way, rather, and you have stories to share, don't hesitate to let us know in the comments.
Absolutely. So let's get into how it all started. So the Forbes clan is associated with Aberdeenshire, in which there's actually an area called Forbes. So makes sense that that's where the Forbes are associated with. So historians believe that the clan was named after the area in which they resided since the 13th century, so they go way back. The origins of the clan are historically thought to be Pictish, where the clansmen having supposedly descended from Pictish kings. So the medieval founder of the clan is thought to be called Ochanachar. Sorry if I've said that wrong. And the story goes that he was able to conquer Forbes by killing the ferocious bears that inhabited the lands, and then claiming it for the Forbes people. So today, Clan Forbes still owns and inhabits these lands, and I think that's an amazing history that they own it because they fought the bears away.
I can't really think of a more intense way to get some land.
No, it's well deserved at that point, I think.
So the clan also has connections to Inverness. During the 18th century, Duncan Forbes was the fifth laird of Culloden House. And while the lands of Aberdeenshire are home to many of the castles associated with this clan, Inverness was an integral territory to the history of Clan Forbes. But more on Duncan Forbes and Culloden House later. The current chief is Malcolm Nigel Forbes, and he is the 23rd Lord Forbes. The title of Lord Forbes is considered the premier Lord of Scotland, as it is the oldest title in the country. Malcolm Forbes and his wife, Lady Forbes, live at the Castle Forbes in Aberdeenshire, which is the official clan seat. And there's a photo of him there.
Looking amazing in all the Forbes tartans as well. So let's talk about the Forbes clan crest. So the crest features an impressive looking stag's head and their motto, Grace Me Guide, which also means it is God's grace that leads us. This isn't the only crest to bear stag's head, but you can often tell the difference between the different clan crests by how many tines are on the antlers. So for the Forbes crest, for example, the stag has 10 tines, which is 5 on each antler. And so you can start spotting the different clan crests and noticing the differences in the antlers there. So Kalyn, where does the actual name Forbes come from?
The name is said to have come from the Irish Gaelic Forbasach, which translates to man of courage. This is because of the documentation that shows that many families from what is now called Aberdeenshire named their sons Forbasach. The first Forbes of that spelling was documented as such in the year 1271, and he was called Duncan de Forbes. So many Duncans.
There are a lot of Duncans. So hello to Brenda and also James joining us tonight. Thank you so much for watching with us. And if you've got any of your own Forbes stories to share, or if you've got any questions, then please write them below, and we'll do our best to answer them. So now let's get on to a few of the clan's impressive castles. So first up, we've got Castle Forbes, which in 1411, the lands where the Castle Forbes lies was granted to Sir Alexander Forbes, and the house called the Tacky on these lands was was in the hands of the Forbes clan. After the original Castle Forbes, known today as Drumnor, was sold by the 16th Lord Forbes in the 18th century, the clan seat moved to Tacky House. So by the early 19th century, the new structure had been built with the original house incorporated into it. The building was done in the Scottish baronial style and was designed by both Archibald Simpson and John Smith. Several years later, the 21st Lord Forbes took on modern updates with proper bathrooms and electricity, which I can only imagine everyone was very The 23rd Lord Forbes, as we mentioned before.
So now, as promised, let's go back to Duncan Forbes and Culloden House. He was born in 1685, and he inherited the title of Laird of Culloden and the estate in 1734. As Laird of Culloden, Duncan Forbes was not a Jacobite supporter, and when Bonnie Prince Charlie arrived in Scotland in 1745 and began laying siege to various areas, Forbes sought refuge on the Isle of Skye. Of course, Culloden House was used by Charles Stuart for the remaining duration of the uprising. And when Lord Culloden returned home following the infamous Jacobite defeat at Culloden, he found the estate to be looted. Despite his alliance with the British Crown during the uprising, Duncan Forbes was largely unsupportive of the acts surrounding the Highland clearances that restricted the wearing of Highland dress.
A bit of a rough time in Scottish history, so it's
a bit of a rough time. He's a little bit on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and we've got Joyce joining us as well. So hello to Joyce. Again, if you are a Forbes, please let us know. We always love to have members of the clan listening in as well. So we now have the plant badge. So the Forbes clan plant badge is broom. Scotch broom is technically a shrub, but it has powerful medicinal properties. And it is said that members of Clan Forbes would put their bonny broom in their bonnets as symbols of their ancient chieftains, which I think just sounds absolutely wonderful.
That's really cute. That's a cute shrub.
It really is. As far as shrubs go, it looks very beautiful, I must say.
So finally, for the history of the clan, we can't leave out the Battle of Harlaw. It was one of the most important battles in the history of Clan Forbes because it was their part in this that won them the lands that remain in their possession today. Harlaw was fought between the barons of the northeast and the barons on the west coast of Scotland for the earldom of Ross. Robert Stewart, Duke of Albany, went head-to-head with Donald, Lord of the Isles. And when the Earl of Mar fought Donald with the help of Alexander Forbes, he helped the Duke of Albany claim Ross. So following Harlaw, the Earl of Mar presented Sir Alexander Forbes with the lands of which the original Bataki house sat, like we talked about earlier. And so today, this is Castle Forbes, which remains the clan seat. And you can read all about the Duke of Albany and the titles links to our soon-to-be U.S. home city in Albany, New York on the Tartan blog.
Absolutely. There's lots of information as we get closer and closer to to, well, meeting Kalyn over in the States as well. So now let's get onto the tartans. So each clan tartan can have multiple variations, the most common of which are the ancient, modern, weathered, hunting, and the dress. So Clan Forbes have 4 variations, and you can see them on the screen there. We've got the modern, ancient, weathered, and dress, and I've got the modern in a scarf here as well. Quite beautiful tartan actually. So just what does modern or ancient mean in tartan terms? So before 1860, tartans, fabrics and tartans were coloured using animal and vegetable dyes. So this produced softer colours typical of the ancient tartans. And so mossy greens and sky blues and more orangey reds. And some would say that the ancients actually show off the tartan much better than the modern variations. So the pattern or set remains the same across all variations of a single tartan, and it's only the shades or tones that vary. So post 1860, chemical dyes replaced the natural animal and plant dyes and the vegetable colours. So the modern tartans were born then with stronger and bolder colours. So the soft greens and blues became bottle green and navy blue, and the reds became more scarlet. So you can see this sort of side-by-side difference of the modern and the ancient on the screen there. Forbes tartan is said to have first been designed by a Miss Forbes in 1822 for the Forbes family of Pitsligo, but earlier records would appear to discount this story as it appeared in Wilson's pattern book of 1819. So a bit of a debate around that one.
The Forbes tartan is also worn by the Liverpool Scottish military regiment. So the Liverpool Scottish was formed as an infantry battalion in 1900 in response to the crisis of the Boer War. It was raised from amongst the body of highly educated and professional young Scotsmen in the city as the 8th Scottish Volunteer Battalion, the King's Liverpool Regiment. So the first commanding officer was Colonel C. Forbes Bell, VD. It's a very long title.
It is.
The Forbes tartan kilt was adopted by the regiment, and the Highland full dress uniform featured a khaki tunic with scarlet collar and facings together with a feather bonnet or Glengarry tartan plaid.
Amazing. Quite a formal look there.
That sounds very intimidating.
It does.
Also,
it really does.
I guess is what you want.
Well, yeah, that's I guess the point of the design there, which I suppose it would have worked. So a slightly different set has been approved by the clan chief and registered with Lord Lyon. So it's also known as Forbes Ancient, and although this is not the version woven by mills here in Scotland, it is the official Forbes Ancient as recorded in Lord Lyon's Register of all arms and bearings in Scotland. And Macarina's got a photo of it there on the screen, so you can see that it's slightly different, but again, it's really beautiful. It's got those greens and blues throughout it.
So one more thing I want to mention is the war cry. The Forbes war cry is Lonnock, which is actually the name of a hill in Stratton in Aberdeenshire. It is said that the cry was meant to signify the gathering of clansmen to Lonnock Hill, which was the highest point in the area. And this area is home to many traditional Scottish societies and activities, including the Lonnock Highland Gathering, which is organized by the Lonnock Highland and Friendly Society, established in 1823 by Sir Charles Forbes.
Amazing. So now we have some of the famous faces of Clan Forbes, and we just absolutely had to mention Bertie Charles Forbes this month. So he is arguably one of the most famous members of the Forbes clan in at least the last 100 years. So Bertie is best known for founding the world famous magazine aptly named Forbes. So Forbes reports on the biggest business, investment, and entrepreneurship news. I at least have definitely heard of it, and I am not big on that field, so I think it's made its way sort of all around, basically. So prior to this, Bertie worked as a reporter and editorial writer for a newspaper local to his university town of St Andrews before emigrating to New York City at the age of 24. Quite an impressive, impressive life there.
Well, I really liked learning about Anne Forbes, who was born in the incredibly significant year of 1745, which we've mentioned a lot today already. She was born in Inveresk. And when she was only 15 years old, her talent for drawing was discovered, and she was sent to study art in Italy under 2 Scottish artists. I think it's really interesting that she was sent to Italy to study with Scottish artists that were also just in Italy instead of Scotland. But after returning to Scotland, she was appointed portrait painter to the Society of Antiquaries in Edinburgh in 1788. And today you can find her portraits on display at the Royal College of Physicians in Edinburgh, the National Galleries of Scotland, and the University of Aberdeen.
Yeah, it's absolutely, well, very impressive, and to still have her paintings around today is just amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely need to check them out if you're ever in Edinburgh. And we've got Margie watching as well. So hello, thank you for joining us tonight. Always nice to have some lovely faces joining us. So Kalyn, I also believe you are writing a Halloween special on our blog all around Josie Forbes, who is the Witch of Taskee. So I love a ghost story. So can you give us a little insight before the blog goes live later on in the month?
Yes, so keep an eye out for the blog going live closer to Halloween, but for now, here's a snippet. So Josie Forbes, the Witch of Taskee, was a popular clairvoyant in Missouri from the end of the 19th century until her death until 1944. In 1906, the Wayne County Journal reported that many physicians, lawyers, and clergymen have visited her and have most gone away convinced and made to be believers. Josie was actually a school teacher, but her skill as a clairvoyant earned her the title of the Witch of Taskee. The most controversial instance of her clairvoyance was her involvement in a murder case, but I'm going to keep you in suspense with that story, Monja, and everyone.
I will be just waiting for the blog to go live. I love a mystery and I love a story, a ghost story. So
now's the time for them. So
a few weeks, and we'll be there with that one. So one of our favorite aspects of Clan of the Month is when our amazing customers send us their stories about their clan connections. And the Forbes stories have been flooding in this month, and we couldn't wait to share them with you. So we've got a couple to share with you tonight. So first up, we've got Elaine Forbes. So Elaine says, she sent us a gorgeous photo and has said, I particularly love this photo of my daughter on her wedding day, sitting with her dad, my husband Robert, who is proudly wearing his Forbes tie. The tartan was on full display that day as we added ribbons of it to bouquets and other flower decor, which as you can see the photo, it just looks absolutely beautiful, and the ancient Forbes tie just suits all the gorgeous spring greenery around. So I'm sure it was an absolutely incredible day. Yeah, definitely.
So we were sent another amazing photo from Catherine, but this time featuring her car. There it is. She writes, I am the descendant of at least 5 clans, Fraser, Douglas, Keith, and Hay on my father's side and Forbes on my mother's. I've chosen Forbes as my affiliation in her honor. I live in Wilmington, North Carolina in the Cape Fear region, and approximately 20,000 to 50,000 Scottish immigrants came to America through the ports of Brunswick and Wilmington. So we have a strong Scottish heritage here. She says, I belong to the Scottish Society of Wilmington, and we participate in the St. Patrick's Day Parade each year. As the parade was canceled in 2020 and postponed in 2021, this year we celebrated halfway to St. Patrick's Day a few weeks ago. It's fun. So the picture that she sent us here is of her 1995 Mazda Miata wearing her Forbes tartan skirt and sash draped across the windshield.
That's such a lovely idea.
I love that.
Definitely.
So now we have a few questions. The first from Roger, who asks, how can I get more involved with Clan Forbes? So we definitely recommend looking into the Clan Forbes Society. It is a distinguished cultural and educational organization that provides those of Forbes descent with a connection to the wider Forbes community. And the society assists with genealogical and historical research and is dedicated to promoting Scottish heritage through education and charity. You'll find the society present at many Highland Games and other Scottish festivals throughout the year in both the US and Canada. So visit the Society's website to learn more about membership opportunities and to take advantage of the incredibly rich resources that they have available to those seeking more knowledge about Clan Forbes.
Yeah, it's absolutely worth checking out if you are a Forbes and want to delve a bit deeper into those connections. So Emily actually recently spoke to Bart Forbes, who is president of the Clan Forbes Society, and Leslie Furbish, who is vice president for Clan Communers on another thing about tartan. So you can watch that back on YouTube as well if you want to learn more about that. Very interesting stuff on there.
And the Society recently published House of Forbes for Kids, which I actually happen to have one here.
Amazing.
So it's a new heritage activity book for children of all ages, which includes outlines for coloring, drawing activities, puzzles, and even the opportunity to start a family tree. So we absolutely loved this project, and as soon as we heard about it, we were delighted to help sponsor the books. And we're currently running a drawing competition for the children with 10 activity books and a special grand prize up for grabs. So it's time to get creative.
Absolutely.
So we have another question from Anna for you, Monja, asking how to style her Forbes tartan.
Absolutely. Well, for winter, I always think it's nice to brighten things up. So I would go with the Ancient Forbes just to add a pop of colour. And you know, as everyone is getting back to the office now, I would go for a nice fitted trouser suit in the Forbes Ancient, and then you can always add a nice cable knit cashmere sweater with it as well, just to make it a bit cozier for the winter months as well. I can never get out of my sweaters. As soon as we hit sort of autumn time, that's me done. So there's no reason you can't pair it with a smart suit as well and go for a smart casual look. So those are my tips for Anna there. So just before we end, a big hello as well to Amanda, Kim and Alan, who are all watching tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it. And if you do have any questions, please write below and we'll get back around to answering them. We'll do our very best with the knowledge that we have. So there we have it. We hope you've enjoyed learning about Clan Forbes with us. And we hope you'll join us next Wednesday when Emily will be speaking to Bill Monroe all about the Schenectady Pipe Band and Capital District Highland Games, bit of a mouthful there, which will soon be our local Highland Games once our new base in Albany, New York opens up next year. And so Emily has some absolutely wonderful stories from Bill, just about how he started the band and all about his granddad as well. So I'll definitely tune into that. But thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you soon.